Awesome. Good morning.
Good morning,
Thank you.
Tribe.
Good morning.
Good morning, Elena.
Good morning.
Hi, Elena.
Homeschooling triplets.
Well, it's going okay. I don't have to do homeschooling since they're in high school, but I usually don't have a computer, so I'm calling in on my phone right now.
Very good. Who can you, when you're on your phone, who can you see?
I'm just seeing whoever talks. Like it's on you right now, but then it jumped to him for just a second, and it came back to you.
Okay.
So I guess whoever makes noise, it jumps.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Rob is leading the meeting. And good morning, Rob.
Good morning. Thank you guys all for joining. And Elena, it's nice to meet you. I appreciate you joining on.
Thanks.
So, does anybody have any questions, or how's everyone's week been going so far?
Fine.
Hi,
Donna,
Carrie.
I saw you raising your hand. Hi, Carrie.
I know that I need to get back on track with you and YouTube all week long.
Okay.
I've been trying to get to YouTube and haven't. I did one time and it didn't look anything like it did when we were on our meeting last week. So I would like to make an appointment with you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Spend some time doing that.
Awesome. I'm more than happy to do that. And my link to the playbook, so I have the physical ones. So can't really even see it because the green screen effect. There we go. The playbooks that I had for us today, I have a PDF version, but for whatever reason, it seems like the link's corrupted. So I was going to say we could either go over Instagram today, or we could go back and keep working on YouTube for you guys, kind of give it up to however you guys want to do things. I have other presentations like the Instagram one ready. So we're good to go there, and we can just visit the playbook next week. Michelle Brown just IM me one sec. I'm gonna show her the link for Facebook.
If you wanted my hand, you'd have to.
Good morning, Virgil. We hear you.
How are you this morning?
We're wonderful. How are you? And Kay?
Good.
Good.
And Carrie, I have to know, do you have any muscles left?
Limited my work schedule. No longer working in the morning. It's a little too hot, so I wait till the sun goes down and I get a couple hours in the evening. Yeah.
Like 5 a.m. is a good time.
Yeah, no, the sun's still out, man. It's just beating on me when I'm trying to shovel out dirt from the truck. So even at 5 a.m., it's cooler out, but the sun is just treacherous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to put a big umbrella over it.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
That is a good idea.
I have one of those, yeah.
All right.
Well, I don't
Okay,
care
so
what we do. I like whatever we do. I always gain insight and value. So I'll refer to the group if people would like to do Instagram or with YouTube.
I vote
yeah,
Instagram.
you vote Instagram, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, we can do. Ooh.
Margot or Virgil or Kay or Elena, do you have some input on what you'd like to do today?
I'm good with either one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a preference.
Okay.
Yeah, either one would be fine with us.
Okay, great. And then Michelle just joined too. Let's see. Man, we've got a great group going on today. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining. Michelle, I'm going to unmute you. It looks like you're muted. Can you hear it? There you are.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, so we were just talking about if we want to continue working on YouTube today or go over to Instagram and start exploring that. Which would you like to do?
I missed the last couple weeks, so let's just go to Instagram. I'm fine with that, whatever you guys decide.
Okay, great. So anyone that wants to go over YouTube more so in detail, we can just set up an appointment like Donna had suggested. And Donna, I'm more than happy after this for us to just find a time that works for both of us. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Great. We will get started then. So I'm just gonna, there's like a little PDF guide that I'll drop in here for all of us. And then has anybody ran into any weird scenarios or issues this week, or maybe thought of some new ones that we hadn't recently discussed that they'd like to go over? And if not, that's great. But as far as like loans go or anything like that. Okay, that's good, you guys. That's really, really good. Just a reminder to everyone, we have now become our own servicer. So we have a ton of flexibility as far as what's going on in the marketplace, or like what we are okay with doing on a loan. So most companies right now aren't accepting anything less than a 660 credit score, and we can still go down to a 620. So it's definitely been really nice having that, and our rates have remained very, very low because of having our own servicing. It cuts out a lot of the added costs of doing a mortgage. So it's really exciting being able to do that. Likewise, if you guys have anybody that maybe wouldn't fit typical guidelines, we can always broker that out. So for example, I have a loan that I just got last week that was a rescue loan. Some very, very nice people, wonderful credit score, plenty of assets for 20% down. They had a foreclosure less than 2 years ago. So the bank that they were with thought that they could get away with it because it wasn't showing on the credit report, didn't communicate that to them, and then it showed up last minute, the week that they were supposed to close. So they almost lost the house. We were able to broker it out to another company that will do that with a larger down payment. And so there's all kinds of different options that we have out there for that sort of thing. So if you guys have someone that isn't quite like fitting the mold, chances are there's still a solution out there for them, and it could still make sense. So I'm always happy to go over those scenarios with you guys or with your clients in private to see if there's a way we can fix things, especially if you have a deal that feels like it's falling apart. We call those rescue loans, so it gets expedited. We have its own channel where everyone goes through and works it as quickly as possible. So those are really the only updates that I have for you guys this week as far as what's going on with my company, or really what's going on in the marketplace. Luckily, things are starting to calm down again, which is good. So we will just get started. All right. So this is our agenda for the day. We're just going to go over like Instagram explained, business Instagram versus personal Instagram. There's different functionality, and it's pretty easy to switch over to like the business side of Instagram from the personal side. I think that you guys could benefit from that if you're planning on using Instagram to help your business. Profile tips, following others, posting and sharing, hashtags and how that they can help you, and little tips on there to where you can keep repeating hashtags or where you can find trending ones, so that way you can start being seen more. Instagram stories. Stories are going to be different than posts, and we'll go over that.
Do we have to have a business? There's a separate one like Facebook?
So it's different than Facebook. You can actually just convert your personal profile to a business one, which is nice. It's basically just in the settings, like you go over and convert it. And I'll show you guys on this how that works.
Oh, okay.
But it gives you different options, more to like market and stuff like that than just the personal side. And if you didn't want to do it, it's not going to be like a make or break thing. That's just more advantages.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Do you still get to keep your all of your followers and all that stuff though when you transfer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I converted mine, it really just felt more like I changed one setting in the background, and the rest of it, like the functionality still looks the exact same, things like that. It just opens up more options for you as far as what you can do on your side of stuff, like when you post and how you post, like seeing insights as far as who looked at your profile and stuff like that. It gives you more insights that way. And then just different tools and apps. So does anybody else have questions right now? All right. So Instagram is just another social media platform. Its focus is different than Facebook. It's more visual, and with some captions at the bottom. So the whole purpose is just to show your experience of life and things like that, whereas Facebook a lot of times has become more like Twitter used to be, where there's a lot more written text and stuff like that, and that's great. But Instagram's primary focus is that actual photo at first. So that's really where all that goes. There's over 1 billion monthly active users on Instagram. Just gonna move this off my screen. There's more than 4 times more interactions on Instagram than on Facebook. And Instagram users spend an average of 53 minutes per day on there. So it's definitely a good platform for you to start branding or marketing yourself on. Does anybody not have Instagram downloaded as an app on their phone? All right.
I do.
I don't have it. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, well, this is perfect. So, and Michelle, if you have questions after this, I'm more than happy for us to set up an appointment
Okay.
to go over this a little bit more in depth too, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
I don't have Google accounts.
So with the personal profile, we're going to go over the difference between that and a business. People can have and share photos, videos privately or publicly. They can add them to their story, comment on other people's posts, and send personal or group messages. With the business profile, you can designate your profile as business, get additional tools and insights like I was talking about for followers and posts. So it does let you do that. Like for example, in this photo, actually that's not going to show you, but like right here, if you guys can see that, it's got like those little bars. That's like part of what it is. So you would click on that and it's going to show you different insights. Switching over to a business profile. So you would just go into your profile settings, click on switch to a business account, connect your Facebook business page, and then set your profile to public. And then that's it. Super, super easy. And I will drop this PowerPoint in the chat for you guys, like I just did the PDF a few minutes ago. So that way you can have it as well. And I'll also post it to our Facebook group. You're going to want to choose a category for your service, sort of like we were talking about previously with YouTube and Google My Business. So the back end of it is making sure that you're in a category that people can start seeing that type of stuff. So that way you can stand out as a realtor and start getting that exposure. When you click on your menu bar as a business profile and then click into your insights, oh, someone's trying to join. Ramanjeet, all right, here we go. Hi Ramanjeet, how are you? Your audio is still connecting. Let's see. All right, can you hear us now, Ramanjeet?
Yes, good morning.
Awesome, good morning.
Thank
So
you.
we just got started on Instagram. We're going over the differences between personal and business. Do you have an Instagram right now?
You know, I did sign up, but I forgot the password. So
I hate passwords. They're my downfall. I totally get that.
yeah,
If you have questions after this, I'm more than happy to spend some time with you on it,
okay,
going over that.
okay,
So I was just showing you guys on the business side, once you've signed up, you can click on this area, the menu bar, click on your insights, and then you can start seeing how people interact with your Instagram profile. So you can see how it splits up between women and men, what times of day, which days of the week, and stuff like that. So you really start getting more and more insights as far as who's really engaging with what content. So the more you start planning out the content you're going to post, you'll be able to see what attracts people the most and then start posting more of that. You can also promote your posts similar to Facebook, because Facebook does own Instagram now. So they are going to have a lot of features that are similar, but it's different users on each side. So think of it that way. But yeah, you can run ads and promote your posts. Going over profile tips. It's always a smart idea to just be yourself, not who you think they're going to want you to be, because your brand's personal, but be consistent across the board with your brand. So when you start out and you have like your brand colors and things like that, make sure that you keep those running. And that's where using something like Canva that we talked about last week for designing your YouTube cover art, you can use that sort of thing as well with Instagram, and it'll actually save your branded colors so you can keep reusing those. So with your username, You're going to be able to use up to 30 characters. You can't have any symbols or spaces. You're going to want to have it to be something searchable. So a lot of people just go with their name if they can, or their name plus whatever local area they're serving. So that way it just makes sense and it's easy to find. Your Instagram bio needs to be more personal than like what your LinkedIn would or your Zillow or anything like that, because it's more of an informal part of getting to know someone than something like those web pages. So showing people what your passions are and what areas you serve, things like that are going to help people get to know you a lot easier. Here's some good bio examples. So globally recognized blogger, speaker, and consultant, straight talking, IG loving, and then they just have a link there. So it's really short, sweet little bits about them. Another one's serial laugher, idea maker, marketing addict. So you can also set up your contact options so they can just click right on your profile to call you, email you, have your office address, or they can just, of course, direct message you in Instagram. You definitely want to make sure that you follow others on Instagram. That's how you start getting interaction back as well. So if you just click on the search symbol, you can start searching things in your area, like first-time home buyer or anything like that. It's not going to be just like Google searches. It'll be similar concept though. So you just search like home buyer or buying homes or anything like that. So that way you can start seeing what those type of people are actually looking for. Because once you find that, like, let's just pretend this is a post from someone who said like new house, like hashtag just bought or something like that, then you can start going back at their history and looking what it was like when they were looking maybe 3 months ago, to start gaining insights about how you could have cross-marketed to them to potentially get in front of them. So now we're going to talk about posting and sharing. So there's your feed, there's stories, and then there's your direct messaging. So your feed is like on Facebook when you're just scrolling through the timeline, whereas stories is right here at the top where you're able to post that content, and we'll go over the benefits of both of those. So with your feed, you're able to share images and video. The max video length on this is 1 minute long. So the goal is to have a shorter video with that. But now with Instagram TV, they've actually updated that. So and we'll go over Instagram TV separate. But to be clear, if your video is longer than 1 minute long, it will still show in your feed. But in order for them to keep watching it past that, they'll just have to say, go to Instagram video, and it'll just change that back page for them, but they don't actually have to do any work. The benefit in doing that is it shows you on the insights page again, what people are really interested in, because they're going to be willing to click that button to see the rest of the video. So to create a post, you're just going to hit the plus sign, find whatever photo you want in your library, and then just click next. Where you're able to start adding locations. You can tag people. You can also tag business partners. So like if you guys were there and you wanted to tag each other or your company or anything like that, that's one of the benefits of the business. You can cross post to other social media platforms. I don't necessarily suggest doing that all the time, because if someone follows you on Facebook and they follow you on Instagram, since the two social media suites have different personalities or different contexts of what they exist for, no one wants to see the exact same thing across the platforms, because people usually toggle between Facebook and Instagram all day long. So it's not going to feel really authentic if you're just posting the same thing in Facebook as you would in Instagram. However, I do see people really successfully a lot of times post the same photo, but maybe the content that they write on it different or from a different perspective, or vice versa. It's basically the same text or content that they're writing about, but it's a different photo, or it's just totally different personalities. The most successful people I know use Instagram for more like their fun side that's a little bit more personal, and their Facebook for a little bit more formal and a bit more like marketing directly to people and more businessy. And then Instagram, like I was saying, is more getting to know them as a person. So then there's two different tracks of getting to know those people. It's really just how you guys want to run it, but it's all about knowing how to actually run it so that way you can, the way that you want. So going over hashtags, is anybody not?
Real quick, I have a question because I have a bunch of peers and friends that actually don't use Facebook anymore. They just post everything from Instagram, and they actually turn on that Facebook part where it copies it over for their friends or whatever that don't have Instagram, right? Because there's some of us that are older that are still on Facebook and not so much on Instagram. So are you saying that that's probably not a good idea for us to do? We should make them kind of separate.
So that's a really good point that you have, Carrie, and where I would feel like that's a good exception. And it ultimately, it depends on your sphere of who it is that you're going to be interacting with. Because in your scenario, like what you're talking about, I would absolutely disagree with what I just said. Because in that scenario, they're not going to necessarily have Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
But if most of your people end up having both, that's where it's going to look like it's just a duplicate, and they're not going to want that like rerun. But I definitely agree with you there that if for whatever reason, whoever you're trying to market to may only have a Facebook or may only have an Instagram, that is where you could repeat that really, really easy. Hootsuite's also a good option for doing that. That's a social media managing platform where you could have that same photo, but in one channel you write one thing and then another on Facebook, but it's on the same screen while you're writing that. And we can go over that too more in person. That's one of the courses that I have for us, is just another option or tools as agents that you guys can use, and then going over just like apps on your phone and stuff like that. But that's a really good question that you had. And I would definitely agree with you that that's a really good exception to have.
Right. Well, because I very rarely use Instagram personally, right? Because I go into Facebook and then I go into Instagram and it's the same stuff. So I'm like, why do I even go in here, right? Like, I don't know.
And that's my point, right? Because so many people end up using Instagram exactly like they use Facebook, when really the personalities are supposed to be totally different in those platforms. Are you on Twitter by chance?
No.
Or were you on Twitter ever?
No.
Okay.
So Twitter. Made the leap.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. So Twitter was one of the original platforms, and that basically was just for posting 180 characters. It wasn't about images or anything like that. It did have the hashtag integration, but it was more for short bits of information. And then Facebook came along and changed it with images and stuff like that. And then Instagram came along and it was more just images and lifestyle-esque, whereas Facebook has a different vibe to it. And now there's TikTok. And then there's, so all of these different platforms are coming out that have their own personality or their own reason for existing. They're still, at the end of the day, social media, but it's like comparing Target to Walmart or to Winco. Like they're all very similar, but they have very different purposes and different personalities and attract different folks.
Okay.
So it's a really, really good question, though. Does anybody else have any other questions right now? All right. So I'm just going to move this that way. So hashtags. Number of hashtags versus the average engagement post. So you have this bottom line is how many hashtags someone would have in their post. And a hashtag is just trending information or information that you want to have consistently. And I know that we've talked about that before in like Facebook. So if you guys had something like the Luger team or anything like that, you're always going to want to hashtag that sort of thing. So that way, yeah, and Ramanjeet, we'll talk about that too here in just a second on that. Thank you though, I appreciate it. Where was I? Oh, right. So you could have that. You could also have the areas that you're serving and things of that nature to where you're really trying to brand yourself, or you could go find what hashtags are trending and start marketing to it that way. Or you could do both. So I've seen people get really successful at usually having like 2 or 3 of their own hashtags that they always post. And then they start posting other ones that are really popular in the area. And so we'll go over that here in just a bit more second. Here's some hashtag ideas. topic related, location based, real estate industry, and branded. So with all these hashtags, when there's a post, you can click on those hashtags, and then it's going to show you all the posts that anyone else on Instagram has posted with that hashtag. So then that's how it starts integrating in the back end, because it's going to start grouping you with other people that are hashtagging the same thing. But that's where it's important to not only do real estate stuff, otherwise you're only going to be integrated with realtors. So a lot of times people are going to be posting about their house that they are fixing up, or their house that they just bought that's a nice luxury home, or that they're looking for, or something like that. And that's where it's important to use an assortment of all of these. So you could do like hashtag East Valley, hashtag Mesa, hashtag Phoenix, or whatever you wanted to do for the area you wanted to serve. It's really about your brand. So it's gonna have to take some time to develop that for you guys and decide how you want to brand yourself. But once you've identified that, it'll be really easy for you to start using these. This
Rob,
is a website.
I have a question, hashtags, and the previous one showed that it looked like the more hashtags you have, the better, which just doesn't compute in my mind. I would think fewer, the better. And do people see hashtags when we post them on Instagram? Because if I've got 15 hashtags there, if I was following someone and I saw their 10 to 15 hashtags all the time, I would like unfollow them.
I totally get that, because it's kind of like busy and annoying, and to me it just doesn't feel like authentic, for lack of a better word, because it feels very obvious that they're trying to gain some traction, right? So let me see if I can find an image of what it usually looks like. So it's not going to show all of the hashtags when you're just scrolling through a feed, or if someone's scrolling through a feed and they see yours. Okay. But if they click on more, like to unfold it, then it shows all the hashtags. So what I do see a lot of people do is like they'll have their photo, and then they'll have like whatever it is that they're talking about specifically for that photo. And then they'll do a couple spaces, and then they'll have like the hashtags below that.
Okay.
Because then people are, yeah, of course, then people are only going to see it that way. I'll see if I can find an example for you really quick. Just 1 second. Because I totally see what you mean, where that could be off-putting or feel weird.
And then I know if there's a way I can maybe cut my hashtags versus spending all that time doing hashtags. I just think it would be a lot of time to do 10 hashtag things every time.
Your audio broke up, but what I think you said was it feels like it could take a lot of your time doing the hashtags. Is that right? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pull up. All right. So this is the desktop version, so it's gonna look a little bit different for you guys, or just for us. But this is my wife's Instagram, and I feel like she's done a really, really good job with the colors and the branding and with stuff like hashtags. So if we went to this photo, so like right here, all these hashtags, it's different because she's got this really cute photo of this dog, which is our dog. Her name's Tansy. She's a handful. But she's always posting about Tansy. That's really popular to post about your pets on Instagram. So it's not going to feel really inauthentic when it's about specifically something that you're doing. But I'm trying to find a post to illustrate what I'm talking about. Let's see.
Because she has to type every one of those in, right?
So a trick that you guys can do, or what anyone can do, is what most people do is they find the ones that they like to use, and then you just copy and paste them and save it on as a notepad. But when you're typing these in, you know how when you're typing in someone's name in an email and it just populates the rest of it? That's what the Instagrams do too.
Okay.
So you can have your ones that you consistently use for like your own branding and stuff like that. or you can just search for ones that are popular, because Instagram will show you which ones are really trending right now. But so on a mobile format, this photo is going to be on top. What she said here is actually going to be underneath. So that's why she's got these dots here, because it lets her indent. And so then the hashtags don't even show up unless someone actually unfolds and really, really looks for it. Does that make sense to you guys and kind of answer your question, Donna?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Real quick, can you go back to her page? Those little circles, like those little badges, is that normal? Did she add that?
So this is normal, and I'll show you on, but these, you can customize them.
Okay, so, those are really cool.
Yeah, you can do that on Canva as well. So Canva's got a lot of really good integration that way. Like, let's see, my Instagram's not nearly as good as hers, but I just made those ones.
Okay.
So you can customize them super easy on Canva.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
And so, like, for example, on mine, I just have it that I'm a mortgage lender, licensed in Arizona and Virginia, husband, and I tag my wife, dog dad, craft beer enthusiast. So super easy, relatable, and just a little blurb, really quick and easy to read on there. Carrie, to dive in a little bit more on like what you're talking about with these circles, these are highlights.
Okay.
And so with
so
the
normally
highlight,
it would just be the text. It wouldn't be, or would there be an image there?
There would
I don't ever remember seeing that on mine. Is that just on the desktop version?
Nope. So that was an original Instagram feature. So
Okay.
do you use Facebook more or Instagram? I can't recall.
Well, I use Facebook more, but I'm trying to be better about, but I like your idea of posting different, maybe the same picture, but different text.
Yeah.
But I would want to set mine up to look decent, and I don't have a clue about Instagram, so.
Instagram is definitely different, and there's a really good coaching platform that I can post for you guys as well, where it's seriously like a 60-hour course of going over Instagram and developing your brand and all that kind of stuff. For me, I think it's great, but at the same time, we all only have so much time. So I myself still haven't used it, but I watched my wife use it while she developed her brand and stuff like that. And it was super helpful on stuff that I never would have thought about at all from like a marketing perspective and branding. But it's almost like a little mini branding course for how to market yourself. But I'm trying to find that photo for you as far as what highlights look like.
Yeah, because on my phone, I don't see anything like that.
So
but I
right
don't know what I'm doing, so. Oh, yeah,
You see these little circles?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but the highlights that, so everyone posts to their story, right?
Yes.
But when you go to an actual person's profile, then you're going to have these highlights. So the stories are only for 24 hours.
Okay.
You can go into your story and tell it to post to your highlights.
Okay,
so then
I see.
That, yeah, then people can start interacting with your highlights. So then on her travel page, for example,
okay.
at one time were only her story, but she cross-posted it to be her highlight. That way, when someone goes into her profile, they can start seeing different things that are separate from her feed, and you're more in control of what people are seeing that way, and underneath a different theme.
Okay.
So the highlight is a separate action. You have to save it as a highlight after it is made a story.
Yeah, here, I'll show you guys. I'll patch my phone in really quick, but you are right. And it's just a fun, different way to interact with people. 604-2392.
So is it kind of similar to Facebook's albums? Like you can separate them out into different categories?
Yeah, it definitely is very similar concept, but it's a different interaction and the purpose is a little bit different.
Okay.
So I got my phone. Let's see. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. But I have to stop there. Just one sec. So that way you guys can see what it looks like. Okay. Forgive all the unread. So here's the stories again that we were talking about, Carrie.
Okay.
And then if I were to go like Nick Hilton, he's a realtor.
Mhm.
He hasn't signed up for the stories part there, so he doesn't have that.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I can find someone who's got that.
Yeah, I
This is
clicked
one
on
of
a
my,
couple of my friends and it looks the same way as that.
so this is my buddy Ben that I grew up with in high school, and he's a realtor out in Omaha, and he does a really good job on Instagram as well. So this is just his story section, but he doesn't look like he has converted his Instagram to a business page where he would actually have those circles like we were talking about.
Oh,
we
so
could
I
go-
wonder if that's why, because some of my friends don't have them as business pages.
That's
So,
probably why.
okay, okay.
And
Okay.
so if you have that business set up, then you can actually see that. So,
Okay.
let's go back to that picture of Levi. Here we go. So this is the same photo we were looking at a minute ago, Donna, and how I was saying, unless they click more, you're not going to see those hashtags. And I just clicked more on this, and that's why we can see those. Because I agree with you, I don't like the way that the hashtags look, but that is a big part of how Instagram actually works. So right here next to emoji, there was a little icon that said more that I clicked on, and then that's when everything unfolded. Does that make sense to everyone so far? Or does anybody have questions or comments? All right. Then I will quit sharing my screen and we'll go back to the platform. This is fun. I enjoy getting up here every week with you guys and learning on stuff.
There's a lot of Rob Mitchells.
What's that?
I said, there's a lot of Rob Mitchells.
There is a lot of Rob Mitchells.
I
So
was
that's,
looking for you.
I'm Robert.A.Mitchell. So that way it was a little easy way to stand out there.
Gotcha.
So hashtags, this is a website that you can go to find hashtags. And there's a ton of different hashtag websites that you can go to see what's like really, really trending. You can also, on your insights in the business page, you can monitor your hashtag results. And this is where it's really, really cool to start seeing all this stuff and why it makes sense to convert it as a business page for you guys. So you can see here just what hashtags are actually working for you and which ones aren't. You can click the explore, this the magnifying glass, and again, you can enter a hashtag and then it'll start showing other ones. And you can also follow hashtags. So that's a really good one, and where it would be smart for you guys to create ones that are local based or about real estate or something that you feel like people would find interesting, because if they do, then other people will start using that hashtag as well. One big one that I've seen on Instagram and TikTok is AZ check-in, where it's just local people in Arizona where they say everyone like check in, and they're just showing off different fun things that they love about Arizona specifically. It's kind of like a locals vibe. But what started out as like one person creating that, now there's thousands of people using that hashtag to follow and to use. So that's how you can start doing that real easy. So Instagram stories, lots and lots of fun. So with Instagram stories, you can add little stickers, you can add music, you can have all kinds of different screen effects to show things. So you can post pictures and videos. You can do like a slideshow format, but it disappears after 24 hours. Again, if you have it set up as a business profile, you can go into your archive and then still find that story that disappeared after 24 hours, and then you can go post it in your highlight reel. So you're not losing your work long term if it was a story that you really liked. It shows at the top of your feed or for everyone's feed, and you just tap on that person's profile photo right there to view their story. So the purpose of a story versus posting something on a feed's going to be something more long-term or something just a little bit less like, hey, this is what I'm doing today, more that you would want it out there long-term. So to post on your story, you just tap on the camera icon in the top left. You would take a photo or a video, or you can upload your own, but similar like with Google, they have their own reasoning in the background. So if you use the app to take a photo, then it's more likely to be seen and things like that. And it's going to have more interaction for you and options. So by taking the photo through Instagram, it gives you more features that way. You can add stickers. Stickers are these where you can choose like a location. Again, you can mention someone, you can add music, you can have a countdown. So like for an open house or something like that, you can do it. You can have people vote on things. Super easy way to just interact with people. This is again showing what the highlights, and we kind of just went over that on our side. Let's see. And you can tell it, like I was telling you guys, the story controls in your settings is how you'll tell it to archive, so that way you can re-access those stories after 24 hours. So if you tap on the clock icon, you can, like I said, view the archived stories right here. So this way, once you view that, then you can post those to your highlights and make it pretty easy for yourself if you wanted to do it that way. What else is cool about the archives is it, again, shows you what you've posted and people's interactions. So now going over to Instagram TV, that is a separate app to use, like to post to things, but when someone's using the app and you've posted a video that's longer than a minute, they shouldn't have to switch over, or it will automatically do it for them once they tap that. So using Instagram video as an agent, you could do reels about like what's great about the area, or I've seen some people have success about going over the different personalities of all the towns, or just different specific ones that they love, like Scottsdale versus Chandler versus Gilbert versus Mesa, and go over like things that they love about each city, and then posting that as a video. So what's cool about when you start doing all this, because social media at the end of the day all has similar features, it's just how it's all packaged, you can start reusing those videos. So for whatever you post on Instagram TV, you could also cross post that to your YouTube, but just repackage it a little bit. That way you're not having to recreate the wheel every single time, and you're able to kind of piggyback on it. So this little icon shows that it was made on Instagram TV and shows that it's going to be longer than a minute, basically speaking. So whenever the user is watching it, like I was saying, it's going to ask them to go ahead and watch it on Instagram TV. You can say, you can show people that they can preview things. Let's see. You can share your Instagram TV to your stories as well. So if you did go over something like that, then you can share that to your stories so people are more likely to see that and interact with it. Going over do's and don'ts. Using stock photos on Instagram is not a good idea. Don't sell too much on Instagram either. Again, people are just trying to get to know you. Don't buy fake followers. Instagram will figure that out. A lot of people do that or started doing that to try and get more presence on Instagram, because the more followers you get, the more space you basically get on Instagram to start being seen, similar like a Google search. So you get more traction behind you, but it's really obvious when it's like a robot or something like that. So Instagram will find that and cut it off. And then you just spent money on something you can't use anyway. So this is saying don't get hyper local. Someone's trying to join. Oh, it's converting. Let's see. Just trying to let him join.
What the heck? Let Anthony join.
Hey guys.
Hi,
There he is.
Anthony.
So I misspoke on this. You do want to get hyper local. That's where I was confused on it. That for a second I said don't, but you're gonna want to get hyper local, especially as agents. You guys want to be like your neighborhood celebrities. I don't know if anyone's read the book Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, but it's really, really good going over this kind of information. But you basically want to highlight the local parts of your area. So your favorite restaurants, what you're doing, if you're at a Starbucks or anything like that, it makes sense to check in and post on that. Oh, we got someone else. Norma. Hey, Norma. I think you're muted. I unmuted you, I think. Cool. I think you're unmuted now.
All right, I think I am. Is that good?
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry, I
So-
got.
I think we all understand real estate life, right?
Mhm.
So we're going over Instagram right now, and I'll post this video later too to our group because I recorded it. But if anyone wants to, again, set up an appointment after this to go over any of the content we'd be learning, like Donna said she wanted to go over YouTube, I'm more than happy to do that with you guys. So you're going to want to get really local, especially from your guys' perspective, because when people are searching for things or where they're going to want to live, they're looking for this. So I know when we plan out vacations or when we were trying to decide where to live specifically, we were looking for stuff like this on Instagram. So we ended up deciding on the East Valley because we fell in love with seeing the Superstition Mountains on Instagram. Like 2 or 3 years ago, before we were ever even here permanently, we were already starting to look in those areas and following those hashtags of like Phoenix or anything like that. So that way we could start seeing the different vibes of different sections. We also loved like the downtown area and stuff like that. And so you can really start to get a sense of a person or an area by those hashtags as a user. And where you guys can benefit from that is you can be the ones posting that content so that way people can see it. So that's how we actually started connecting and meeting people or finding an agent to work with, is we saw that they were specifically posting on the areas that we were interested in and consistently posting on it. So it felt like that person really knew the area well, and that's someone that we could trust as an expert and how they really differentiated themselves as an agent. Because, you know, there's thousands of agents out there, but we wanted to work with that one because they really seemed like they knew their stuff. We felt like we knew them because we interacted with them on Instagram. And we basically developed a relationship over Instagram as the years went on until we moved out. So it's super easy for you guys to start doing things that way, especially if you're on a social media platform anyway.
I love how you say super easy when I'm sitting here feeling a little overwhelmed.
So what I meant to say, and I apologize, it's simple, but maybe not easy. Maybe that's the wording I should choose. So similar to Facebook, if you're already doing and posting on social media, it's something that you can take advantage of and just shift a little bit how you're doing that. Once you get used to it, like Instagram for a long time, I didn't fully understand how to use, but I understood like how to just look at all the pretty pictures. And so that's where once you guys can kind of harness that, it really catches up to you very quickly, especially if you're already on one social media platform. But thanks, Doc, I appreciate it. Do share listings and sold. So a lot of people share this kind of stuff and it looks great. It's exciting to see like a house sold or a house that is coming to the market because too, it gives people a vibe for that area. One thing that I would suggest for people not to do in this scenario though, and maybe this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, so if you guys disagree, I'd love to hear about it. It's awesome when people post like, congrats to so-and-so on closing for their first house, but make sure that you're actually congratulating them. I see a lot of agents trying to like humbly brag about themselves and all they say is like, congrats to my client, and it feels so inauthentic and really makes it seem like they don't value that client because they're not even naming them. Now, if it's a client that didn't want to be named or something like that, then that makes perfect sense if it's one here and there. But I see a ton of agents that that's consistently all they do is, congrats to my client, I was able to do this or I was able to do that, instead of showcasing the actual client. Now, if it's like, congrats to Debbie and Travis on your first time home buyer, that was so awesome, I'm super excited for you guys. What a great journey, and I loved creating a relationship and seeing you guys flourish, and I'm so excited about your future. That really makes you guys sound a lot better than just, congratulations to my client who's a first-time home buyer, I was able to negotiate, blah, blah, blah. Because people care more about the heart, especially on Instagram, than hearing about the business transaction itself. Am I making sense with the difference there, you guys?
Yes.
Awesome. So good accounts to follow. Ryan Serhant, he's really good. Peter Lormer, Brenda Camacho. They all have different vibes to them too, which is cool. So you can see that and start developing your own style. Tools and apps, like I was saying previously on YouTube and a few other times throughout this call, Canva's great for all this kind of stuff. It's a really, really nice platform. They have a free version and a paid version. Graphic designs, so Hyperlapse, it's just another part of Instagram. So it'll pop up for you guys, or if you just search Instagram in your app store, you'll start seeing all this on there. InShot's really good. You can like add music, you can trim the videos, which in Instagram you can't do. So it's an easy way for you to go ahead and like edit that in a separate app and then upload it. Boomerang is now just, it's a feature within Instagram, but for some phone users, you might still have to download the app depending on which type of phone you have. Let's see. Cut Story, so you can stitch videos together. You can add stickers, music, and again, it all sounds really similar, and some of them all do very similar things, and that's where it's finding the ones that you're gonna like. Planoly is a really, really good scheduling tool for Instagram specifically. So you can schedule your posts, you can measure your results, and you can comment and engage through Planoly. I struggle saying that, but the interface in that's really, really easy to see and use as well. I've never used Later before, and I've never really heard much about it, but it could work for you guys as well. Again, it's just another scheduling tool that you might like. Does anybody have questions on scheduling tools or anything that we've talked about so far? I know that we kind of tore through that pretty quickly.
When you say scheduling tools, what do you mean by scheduling tools? Like it's a reminder?
Oh, sorry, Norma.
Hey, huh?
Sorry, I think there were two people talking over each other. Yeah, so scheduling tools specifically, like with Instagram or Facebook, this one that I'm talking about as far as Planoly goes, is you can specifically start scheduling different things to go out at a specific time, as opposed to it just reminding you. So you can go ahead and set up that post with a photo and the content and the hashtags that you want. But if you've noticed that certain hashtags or anything like that are better off than others, that's where you're gonna set all that up, get it ready and teed up, and then just tell it to post when traffic's high. It'll automatically post for you at like its most likely time to be engaged with, or you can have it post at a specific time. So what a lot of people do for social media that are successful with it, instead of just posting like right in that moment necessarily, all the time, they'll go ahead and just do it as like a group effort, or like they'll combine their time together. So like they'll take 1 or 2 hours every week, and then they'll just set up all their social media posts and schedule it on an app like this. So that way it's automated later on. And then you're just supplementing it with something else if you wanted to, but you don't have to, because especially for us in our industry, the week can get so crazy and out of control. Before you know it, it's Friday and it was just Saturday, you know? And so that's how it keeps you on track with stuff. Does that answer your question, Norma?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's it in a nutshell. I know that we went over a ton. Does anybody have questions of what we went over? Okay. Let's see.
Not that we have time to do in this platform.
What's that, Margot? I'm sorry.
I said, not that, no question that could be answered during this platform.
Okay. Well, we can set up a time on our own to talk too.
Right.
Let's see. And then I also pull that.
You pulled up an island?
I'm sorry?
You pulled up an island?
Yeah. So I'm trying to go back to our chat window real quick and just show you guys that PDF that I uploaded for you as well. but I can just pull that up.
Builder rep. Jamie.
Over in the corner is, I know.
Builder rep.
So this is just like a little PDF handout for you guys to go through as well. That went over what we talked about. And I dropped that for you guys in the chat box.
Thank you.
So you guys should be all able to see that. If not, I can also just email it to you guys.
Can you put it in our Northeast Mesa Mastermind?
Yeah, and I'll also put it in there. It's
Perfect.
79 pages, so it might say that's a little too big, but what I could also do is just hyperlink it. So you guys might have to go to a separate page to download it if it's too large, but I'll definitely try that.
Or email is fine, because I think the thing for me is you put it in, but I don't know what to do with it now that it's in chat. How do I do anything with it?
So you should be able to hover over it in chat and then click the ellipse to the right of it or to the left, depending on your computer, and then click download.
Okay, well, it says download. Okay, same. So, okay. So
If
I
you click on download, it'll just pull right down into your computer.
Okay.
Just like if you were downloading it from Facebook.
Okay.
Just that way you guys don't, my logic anyway was hoping that it would save you guys just a little bit of extra time and the need from having to go somewhere else to find that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'll still post it in Facebook. That way you guys have a place to go back to and everything like that. But that's Instagram in a nutshell. I really think a lot of people can be really successful with Instagram. And again, like what Carrie was saying, you can definitely cross-post to Facebook if you want to. It really just depends on your sphere there. So if you guys have questions on that or anything, feel free to reach out. And that's really all I got for you guys this week. Already updated with you on what's going on at Movement and things like that. Has anybody thought of anything else that they have questions on or anything like that?
I think Instagram is more used by the young generation. Is that true?
Yes.
So
That is true.
they are, like they're always on Instagram and everybody's posting so much. So is it worth for us to go and do all these things? Maybe
It
yes.
does. So, sorry, Ramajit, I didn't mean to talk over you. Just like Facebook at one point was only for a younger generation,
Yeah.
now everyone's on Facebook. So that's a really natural progression with those platforms, as everyone eventually starts to adapt with them. But the whole thought, or at least my thought behind it, is you need to use what you're going to want to use, actually. So if Instagram for whatever reason doesn't feel like a natural fit to you and you're still doing basically the same stuff on Facebook, then just do what actually works for you. But I want you guys to see all your different options because they all do have different features and functionality. But a lot of the concepts that we're showing is trying to find people where they're at as far as wanting to buy or sell, or if they know someone that wants to buy or sell. And that's where you being on Instagram as well could really benefit you, because it's not just teenagers anymore by any means. Most of them are in their mid-20s. So it's definitely the younger age of millennials and then the generation after that.
Younger age, yeah. But like people who buy homes are more of mid-40s, maybe late 30s. So, but yeah, you're right. They can always pass it down to their parents. Oh, mom, I saw this, dad, I saw this, this is all. Yeah, we can advertise.
Right. And that's where with the insights on the business feature, you can see who else integrating, like interacting with your page and what their age is roughly. So you can start seeing if it's going to be worth your time or not, because a ton of people, it's not just like teeny boppers on there or anything like that. That's more like what TikTok is right now. But again, like with TikTok, you could also do something similar and be ahead of the curve, because if the kids are on a social media platform, chances are mom and dad are on that social media platform trying to see what their kids are posting or what they're exposed to try and protect them.
Yeah.
So definitely see your point there, Ramajit. That's very, very, very true.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ramji.
Hi.
I still think there's a lot of, over 30s, that, the 30 to 45 range that are using Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's kind of moved over from Facebook to Instagram. So
I agree.
It will definitely benefit us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Facebook's like the new MySpace Facebook is kind of like what MySpace used to be when Facebook was like Instagram. So I definitely agree with you, Margot. But yeah, it's all exciting. There's tons of opportunity for you guys out there. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We can go through this stuff again or work on your profiles together, things of that nature. Anthony, did you want to talk to the group about anything?
No, I think I'm good. Sounds like you covered everything.
Great. Well, you guys, thanks so much for joining. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll post all this stuff here later on today in the group. It just takes a little while for it to convert and download and things of that nature. But we're here. And Donna, what were you going to say?
I was going to say a couple things. Thank you very much for
thank you.
flexible and moving over to Instagram because we couldn't do the book. And everybody's flexibility, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I just have a couple quick agent update things if you want to stick around.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. My agent update things are just an experience that I had this week. I have a listing that is occupied and they asked us, you know, they're observing cleanliness and stuff. So they asked us to put in place some measures. What we did is before someone can come in, we ask them to use the form that HomeSmart put out a week or two ago about them filling out the form to say that they have not been sick in the last 2 weeks or have not been around someone who's been sick in the last 2 weeks and they have not traveled in the last 2 weeks. We get them to sign it and send it over. Of course, people can tell us whatever they want to, but no one's had a problem with that. And we also have started asking for a pre-qual before they actually get the appointment because we want to know, make sure that they, number one, can afford it. And also that, you know, what the terms are for their loan, if it's going to be conventional or if they have a house to sell. And it's been interesting. It's been uncomfortable asking for that, but we're moving towards being comfortable because agents have actually called us and said, thank you for asking for that because my buyer just would not get the pre-return before I took them out. So it gave the agent a lot of information too about that buyer and to let them know the seriousness of which they were going out with that person and if they were on the front end of things or the back end of things. And I also started asking the question, if this is the right home for them today, are they prepared to write an offer? That question gave a lot of information to us about where they were in their process. So I think the days of buyers just calling agents and say, oh, I have a hobby, let's just go look at houses. I think those days are over. So I wanted to figure that out.
That sounds right. Yeah, Donna.
That's exciting.
Those days are over.
Donna, do you mind if I piggyback on what you were just saying?
Please do.
Okay, cool. So we also, you guys, if you have that kind of situation, we have an app that we can set you guys up with really easy. I was setting Norma up with this last week and it got a little funky there on the Droid side, but what it lets the consumer do is go ahead and fill out the actual application from the smartphone app, but it's co-branded with you guys. So you can keep that on your phone and then just share that with them specifically via text. So you just open the app and jump right in. So I can show you that what it looks like. It's very easy to use. And of course you can always call us and we can just take the application. But I've had several agents say that having this app has made that conversion a lot easier than calling me and having me take the application with someone over the phone. So I will stop sharing here and then I'll start sharing on my phone again. So here is what the app looks like. And you can share this app with the borrower or quick share. This shows partner for me, like if I wanted to share it with a realtor, but let's say I wanted to share it with a borrower, and this is what it would look like for you guys. It can pull your phone contacts. So we can just say, like I wanted to share it with, oh, but I don't have Dustin's phone number. Sorry. We'll just say I wanted to share it with Shari. We can pick Selena, and then this is what it would look like when you text it to them. So then you hit share by text. and then it's automatically going to give them a little photo and then a link of what that's going to look like. So then it's just going to refer them to the App Store and then have them download it. It has like a specific code in there. So then on their side, once they get that, it's going to ask them right here to fill out that application if they wanted to, and it's going to have that link. We can also integrate this. So this is what my side looks like to the consumer, okay? So it's got my contact info. So if for whatever reason they forget it, it's already an app on their phone. They can share it with a friend. They can apply on my website, access my HomeBot, see my licenses, and get help with moving type logistics. With agents, we typically set them up with like a see what people are saying about me button, which is just we connect it to your reviews. But then this way we're getting to consumers where they're at on their phone. So even if in that minute they don't download that app, or if they don't actually start filling out the application, it's still going to be on their actual phone. So it's going to be kind of front and center. One of the cool integrations it does for you guys is if they start using the calculator or anything like that, is actually going to show you, and it can pop up on your screen as well. That way you can conveniently call them at just the right time when they're running calculations and help them if you wanted to, and they don't know that. So that's an easy way to get them to go ahead and apply though, is just by giving them the app, or like I said, you guys can call us, but it's super easy and it just directs them to the website. Does anybody have questions on that?
How old were you when you took that picture? About
that was about 3 years ago. Yeah. But that's the app. It makes things easy as far as getting someone to actually apply or showing that they're actually serious. If it's a scenario where you have to have that, because if you just have them fill it out, it takes them about 5 minutes, then it would take us about maybe 20 minutes to look through it just to do a quick pre-qual if it's not a pre-approval. So that way you guys can use that. So if anyone's interested, just let me know and I can set you up with that. Really easy to where we're co-branded on that.
Like this?
Yeah. And Donna, if you go in that app, you can upload your headshot to that. There should be like a D at the top right. So if you tap on that, you should be able to update your profile.
Okay. Nice.
And then if you start sharing it, I love it because then you're on their phone, and that makes a big difference as far as them remembering you. And the only other thing I wanted to add back to Instagram that I meant to is when you guys get leads, it's easy to add those people on social media. That's something I've done over the years, and it's been awesome getting to interact with people and letting them get to know me more as like on a personal side. But then too, they just remember me because they see my posts. So it might take them a couple of years to come around before they're ready, but I'm just doing what I'm already doing. I'm just adding onto my sphere of influence. So it's a really, really easy way for you guys to do that if you feel comfortable with it. So that's definitely your judgment call, just letting you know one strategy I've had that's been successful with social media, regardless of which platform it is. So that's all I got for you guys. Donna, or does anybody else have anything they wanted to say?
Anyone have any fears about what they might have learned this week in real estate with things that are changing, whether they've changed or not for you?
Well, we actually, going back to the old ways, we had open house in Fountain Hills on our listing Saturday and Sunday. It's vacant. We called HomeSmart Corporate and talked to one of the brokers to see what we could and could not do. And we followed the guidelines that they suggested. And we had 12 people Saturday, 12 people Sunday, picked up a couple of buyers. Everybody's nice and friendly and lots of comments. And we were pleased, I guess, to go ahead and be able to do that again. It's been a while.
So we're allowed to do open houses now?
Oh yeah, you can HomeSmart lets you have an open house anywhere.
Well,
It doesn't matter what,
a couple weeks ago, we were asked not to.
I thought I heard the same thing.
So the broker had said no open houses at all a couple weeks
You
ago.
call your broker.
That's a while back.
That was a while back. We just called 3 days ago, talked to Jeff, and he says they don't have a problem with it. We have
It's your business
It's
to
your
run.
business to run the way you want to. We had a vacant house. We have booties in place, hand sanitizers, masks, sprays, wipes, whatever the people want. We stay away. We have our mask on. They can walk through the house. You can stimulate how many people, sign up books, you know, everything like that. The HomeSmart does not have a problem with it.
Did you have people sign in?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you find they were more likely to sign in now than they did before?
I think so.
Yeah.
There was one lady that come in with her mother, I think, and they would not touch anything. I mean, they didn't even open the door. I handed them a flyer of the place. They didn't want that. I had a hand sanitizer there, and when they got ready to leave, they talked. And when they got ready to leave, she stood by the front door, and finally she said, "Would you open the door?"
So
for
she
me?"
wants you to open the door,
So she
which
was
is fine. It's
really
fine.
kind of a.
That was
freaking
the
out
only,
over it.
that was
That was the only one.
which
Everybody
is
else.
fine, you know, you gotta expect that, of course, but whatever the customer wants, so. Had a successful open houses, and we're gonna do one Thursday too, I think.
Did they show up with their masks? Did people show up with their
Yeah.
masks?
Most
Yeah.
of them
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Most of them did.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Norma. I've heard too that we don't do open houses. That's why they were pressing so hard to do virtual open houses. So it is interesting to hear.
They've changed their
Yeah,
minds.
I think Matt
just-
Widows, I think last week or the week before, had his little deal. He said, "It's your business. You can do them if you want."
You're
And then-
But we talked to the broker. He says, you know, just stay within the, you know, the spacing, the distance rules, and just be cognizant of all that.
Yeah, but he says, go ahead and have them. We don't care. That was
So
Jeff.
do you guys put like a whole bunch of open house signs everywhere like we normally do, that type of thing?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was. And a lot of people, I think one person had a realtor with them, but other than that, they were just looking. They were actually buyers looking for houses. So
And
that's
some of them, I know
encouraging.
one of them came in, they was from Redfin, and somebody else had seen it on Zillow. So, and then a lot of them just seen the sign.
Yeah. So there's hope out there, I guess, for and like I said, we got a couple buyers looking in the 500s. So I mean, that made us happy and them happy. So things are starting to go back slowly the way they used to.
I think jumbo loans have gone up really high, more than 500,000 loan, right?
Yeah, I think they've lowered the prices down too, what they will loan, I believe.
Hey, Rob, are you still on here?
So
Yeah.
Ramanji, are you saying that you're thinking that jumbo loans, the limits have changed?
Yeah, isn't that the rate of interest has gone higher on that jumbo loans?
Oh, on interest rates.
Yeah.
What's going on with jumbo loans is that the investor specifically, because it's not a conforming product. So when things started really shifting about a month ago, a lot of jumbo loan investors backed out overnight. Literally, even if it was a transaction in play, they just said, no, we're not doing it anymore. So there's only a handful of investors right now that are willing to do jumbo loans. So things are riskier. So that's probably where we're seeing rates being a little bit inflated with that type of product. But it's not just like a random thing, if that makes sense. So I do think that things will subside and they'll go back to normal very soon once the rest of this does, or once the rest of the uncertainty settles. But we do definitely still have jumbo loans that are available. And I feel like the rates are competitive with what's out there. It's just that it's a totally different product. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking.
And what do you think, the market is going to crash more? The interest rate is going to go down more?
You know, I really struggle with that. And I've kind of went over it a lot in my mind. Like I keep going back and forth because rates are so low right now, even on like a 15-year, blocks someone in at 2.6. And so I don't think that they can physically get much lower without us seeing other repercussions in the economy. Because if those rates are so low, the way that our mortgage system is set up, then that's not going to yield anything in the marketplace for our retirement accounts and stuff like that. So we're kind of at this floor spot where I don't think that rates can get significantly lower. I do think that they could get somewhat lower, but I'm curious from an economic standpoint that if they keep getting lower, how that's going to affect things like the marketplace for all of our retirement accounts and stuff like that, or it's just things like inflation. So that's where it's going to be curious for the feds to come in and try and find that happy medium spot right now, because I feel like rates are really, really good.
They're
Does,
good,
any-
yeah.
does anybody else have an opinion on that?
Yeah,
What-
plus
what
all these banks that are offering, the mortgage companies, they're offering 3-month forbearances, right? So I think that is going to impact big time once the 3-month period is over.
Yeah. So people taking forbearance right now, it's going to put them in a situation where they can't refinance later or things like that. So it's not just like a skip your payments for 90 days because you just bought a new Lexus kind of setup. It's a lot bigger deal than what they're making it look like. It's great that people have that relief, but it really will impact them down the road. So if you guys have anyone with questions on that, feel free to direct them to Anthony or myself, so that way we can help them walk through just the logistics to make sure it's a good option for them. Because when they're calling into their servicing centers, chances are they're just dealing with someone who doesn't necessarily know the entire scope of things, because that's more of an entry-level position, and they're there and they're helping, but they may not be able to advise all the way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off that, if you have sellers right now that you're helping buy, I know that sellers are tempted also to go into forbearance. I don't know if you talked about this earlier, Rob.
No, that's a really good point.
So if you have any sellers that you're also helping on the buy side, just make sure that they aren't requesting forbearance, because that could impact their ability to buy. Because when the lender then goes to pull their credit and do an application and they see that they've gone into forbearance on their current house, then they won't be able to lend them any money as it stands. So until there's more defined guidance, I would just make sure if you have any listings currently active, or you're about to deal with some sellers here in the near future, that you encourage them not to go, or you ask the question if they currently are in forbearance. And if you need, Rob or I to check their, run an application, check their credit, we do have a seller's advantage, that if we can help you guys with those potential future buyers, give them a $500 credit to cover their appraisal on their next house. But we can also just ensure that they're not in the middle of forbearance.
Is there a time limit? Like when you did a short sale, you had to wait a few years, 3 years or so before purchasing. Is there something, what's the time limit on forbearance for people?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's not defined specifically yet. They're still trying to work that out. It used to be anywhere from 1 to potentially 3 years, depending on the program. Right now, they've kind of settled on potentially 12 months. But they're rehashing whether or not that should even be a consideration, considering the virus situation now. But yeah, it could be up to a year before people could buy again if they're in forbearance.
Yeah, I just feel that it's looking like a very small thing, but actually it is a very big impact on the sellers and the buyers.
It is, yeah. There's do you remember the number, Rob? I have to look it up. I think it was 7% of mortgages right now are in forbearance.
Yeah. It was, wow. And they were anticipating it to get to 10% really quickly, which that's a big number.
Yeah, 1 in every 10 people doing forbearance, and banks or servicers handling that. I mean, servicers are responsible for those payments, so that's another thing that uncertainty is affecting interest rates as well.
Right.
Once the uncertainty is removed with forbearance and people know what the repercussions are and how the government and the Fed and Fannie and Freddie are going to handle purchasing these loans, then there'll be kind of a release of stress in the market, and we might see rates drop a little bit further. I agree with Rob. I don't think we're going to see a massive swing down, but it'll help bring back a lot of the jumbo products, and like we'll see maybe a little bit more ease there compared to what we have now. But
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cool. Well, you guys, I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you all so much for coming. If you need anything at all, just let me know. And then Donna, I'll reach out to you so that way we can set up a time to meet. Does that work for you?
That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you all. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
guys, thanks,
Bye,
Rob.
Bye, Anthony.
Thank you all.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye, John.